Hey, what's up, DNC? You see this? Just because CNN can't see it doesn't mean you shouldn't. Bad enough Hillary Clinton can't nab the independent vote, let alone 40% of Bernie Sanders supporters saying that they won't vote for her in the general election. Good luck with that one. And just as the majority of Bernie Sanders supporters are waiting on pins and needles for Hillary Clinton to be indicted by the FBI, so is the DNC waiting for Bernie or bust to just die down. But unfortunately for Hillary Clinton and you, the DNC, this won't die down. And I'm going to give you 4 reasons why I'm Bernie or bust, and I will never, ever vote for Hillary Clinton. Fuck that. So I'm going to try and keep this video short, but not too short as just say I'm a rational human being with a conscience, and not too detailed to infuriate anyone upset with a corrupt election system to the point where they pick up a chair, put the chair back down, and then CNN reports on them saying they threw 50 chairs. So it's no secret that in the beginning Bernie Sanders was behind it. Without the name recognition of Clinton's, he would have to rely on his message to propel him forward. And considering his message was more progressive and anti-establishment than the establishment candidate Hillary Clinton, his message was pushing him to win the general election. So obviously you, the DNC, and the Clinton camp couldn't have this momentum continuing. So knowing that Bernie Sanders wins when voter turnout is higher, the local Democratic Party, who was mostly Hillary Clinton supporters, shut down polling locations in Arizona by 2/3. Totally not rigged. And that's voter suppression, which continued all the way through the campaign to New York, a turning point for Bernie Sanders if he would have won. Unfortunately, the local Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton supporters purged 126,000 people from the voter rolls in Brooklyn, a place where Bernie Sanders had the most support in the city. Coincidence. In Wisconsin, the local Democratic Party removed polling locations from universities where they had been previous years to help the students vote. And it's definitely not because Bernie Sanders polls really well with college students. I mean, even Bill Clinton right now is being sued in Massachusetts for election fraud. Number 2, election fraud. So exit polls are used to determine election fraud, and if the results of the primary are more than 4% off from what was directly polled, the benefiting party most likely took part in election fraud. Here's the percent difference from Arizona and New York. Fuck. And that wasn't the only place. We're going to move on to number 3. Media biased. Come on, CNN. After he wins the state, Washington Post has 18 negative articles about Bernie Sanders within 16 hours. In a Daily News interview, whose owner is one of Hillary Clinton's top donors, the interviewer tries to trip up Bernie Sanders with confusing and circular questions, which he still answers. However, that's not what CNN saw.
Read the exact quote on that one. Here it is. So the Daily News asked Sanders, how do you go about breaking up the big banks? Mr. Sanders, how do you go about doing it is having legislation passed or giving the authority to the Secretary of the Treasury to determine. Under Dodd-Frank, that these banks are dangerous to the economy over the problem of too big to fail. The Daily News followed that answer up by asking this, do you think that the Fed has the authority to break up the big banks? Sanders said, well, I don't know if the Fed has that authority. No, Mickey, shouldn't Sanders know that?
The problem is we take, as we do in the media, take little bits out of context and don't show the full picture. And to be clear, to be even more fair, Bernie Sanders is the only senator who's brought this up in Congress. I know, but it's a much larger quote. He went into more detail at other points in the transcripts.
So you're saying there was more to that answer?
Okay, well, let's assume that you're correct on that point. How do you go about doing it?
How you go about doing it is having legislation passed or giving the authority to the Secretary of Treasury to determine, under Dodd-Frank, that these banks are a danger to the economy under the problem of too big.
But do you think that the Fed now has that authority?
Well, I don't know if the Fed has it, but I think the administration can have it.
How? I mean, how does a president turn to J.P. Morgan Chase or have the Treasury turn to any of those banks and say, now you must do X, Y, and Z?
Well, you do have authority under the Dodd-Frank legislation.
Wow, so is it that CNN doesn't do their own research, or is it that they researched it and said, fuck it anyway, because Hal Hillary? But you know who does do the research? Bernie Sanders voters. So they started an Occupy CNN movement outside of CNN's doors while CNN reported on aliens. But that's not the only protest they're ignoring this year. They're also ignoring Democracy Spring, which is the largest protest of the century fighting to get money out of politics in Washington, D.C. Huge story. Not for CNN, though. And corrupt DNC, I could touch on a lot more media bias, like how CNN lumps together the superdelegates with their delegate count they present to their viewers, giving Hillary Clinton an unfair advantage of 500 delegates. Reason number 4, and the number 1 reason for most Bernie Sanders supporters and why they won't support Hillary Clinton in the general election if she gets the nomination, is because of Hillary Clinton. Bad trade deal after bad trade deal, war vote after war vote, flip-flop after flip-flop, pander after pander. Hillary Clinton has lied so much that there should be an emoji that people can send to their friends to let them know that they have lied to them. Hillary Clinton has skewed the truth on the FBI investigation so much that the FBI had to get on CNN and say, yes, we are investigating her. She's accepted money from corporations, foreign governments, all of which benefited directly after her action in the state. Coincidence? No. That is called corruption. No rational human being with a conscience can vote for someone who is that corrupt. So to recap for you, DNC, we will not be voting for Hillary Clinton because of the voter suppression, election fraud, the media bias, and corrupt Clinton herself, and we will be burning your bust, and you're not changing that. And to everybody not a part of the DNC, thank you for watching. You can like and subscribe, I appreciate it. But please take a look at these hashtags left at the bottom of the video. They'll help you do some more research on all these topics I touched on. Thanks for watching.